So in Windows, the most commonly used settings are in Settings, and then to edit some other settings, we need to use the registry editor. In Linux, once again, the most commonly used settings are in Settings. However, there's no registry editor, and what you essentially need to do is edit usually some configuration files using the terminal. So let's have a look at some of the basics using the terminal. Let's open up the terminal. And I'm just going to zoom in a few times so it's easier to see on YouTube. And I'm going to open up the File Explorer on the right hand side because a lot of the operations we'll be carrying out in the terminal we can visualize using the File Explorer. Okay, so we've got our username and then @ and then our PC name, and then we've got this colon, and then notice that we've got this tilde, and this tilde is the address that we're in, and the tilde means we're in our home folder. So in the File Explorer, the tilde essentially means that we're in home. So you see you've got home in the address bar in the File Explorer, and this tilde and this home are the same thing. So if I right click some empty space in the home folder and select Open in Terminal, notice that the terminal looks identical, and it's opened in the home folder, which is the tilde. So the address is tilde. Let's close down the terminal and instead enter another folder such as Documents, and right click some empty space and select Open in Terminal. Notice that the address has now changed to tilde / documents. So this means we have opened the terminal in the Documents subfolder of the home directory. And if we change the folder, say for example to Downloads, and right click it and select Open in Terminal, now the address bar is tilde / downloads. Okay, so how do we change the directory within the terminal instead of changing it within the File Explorer? So let's go back to the home directory and let's just open up the terminal using the shortcut from the Start menu. So this opens the terminal up in the home folder, and we see this with the tilde. So let me just zoom back in so it's easier to see. And to change the directory, we can use the command cd, which is an abbreviation for change directory. And then we can specify the folder that we want, such as Documents. So now we've changed the directory to Documents. And this works because we were in the home directory, and from within the home directory there's this Documents subfolder. So notice if we attempt to change the directory to Downloads, we actually get this error message, no such file or directory. And this is because it's actually looking for a Downloads subfolder within Documents. So if I press the up arrow key to get to the previously used command, we can see that this now works. Okay, so in order to get to the actual Downloads folder, we need to change directory to tilde / downloads. And let me just remove the Downloads folder we created as a subfolder in Documents to remove any confusion. So we can get back to the home folder by just typing cd tilde. And if I press Ctrl and L, it's basically going to scroll down to the current line. So essentially clearing the screen of your terminal. So let me go back to Documents and then let me go to Downloads. And if I type in cd-, what this does is it takes me to the previous directory that I was in, which was Documents. So if I press cd- again, it takes me back to the previous directory that I was in, which was Downloads before Documents. And if I press CD minus, it's going to take me to documents, CD minus back to downloads, CD minus back to documents, CD minus back to downloads, and so on. Okay, if I type in CD dot, it's going to take me to the same directory that I was in. If I type in CD double dot, it's going to take me to the super folder of the directory I was in. So this will take me back up a level to the home folder when I'm in downloads or documents, for example. Okay, so let's now go into documents, and now we're going to have a look at the command touch. And this essentially lets us touch a directory with a new file. So if we type in the file name within quotations, then we're essentially specifying a string, and then we create the file using this string name. Now in Linux, it's more common to use file names without spaces, and notice that we can use touch without the quotations to create a file name without spaces. If we attempt to use the command without quotations, then everywhere we've got a space, we're going to create a new file. So we created the file my, the file, and both of these don't have an extension, and then we created the file 4.txt, which wasn't our intention. So we can use the rm command to remove these. So let's remove 4.txt, let's remove file.txt. So this doesn't work because it doesn't have the extension. So let's remove file and let's remove my. So let's have a look at the move command mv. So we move a file from one location to another location. And if we don't specify a directory, then it's going to assume that the new and old location are the directory that we're in. So it will essentially just rename the file. So let's rename my file 3 with spaces to my file 3 without spaces. So because my file 3 originally had spaces, we need to specify this as a string. However, the new file name we don't need to specify as a string. We can also use the copy command, cp, to copy a file from an old location to a new location. And once again, if these are in the same folder, it's going to copy the file to the same folder. So let's copy my file.txt to my file 4.txt. So we can use the command make directory to make a new directory. And if we don't specify a full file path, we're going to make a subdirectory, i.e. a subfolder within the folder that we're in. So let's make directory my project 1, and now we see we've got this subfolder, my project 1. If you wanted to use spaces, which isn't advised, you would need to put quotations around it to make sure that it's a string. So let's make a directory my project 1, and let's make a directory my project 2. And now let's change our directory back to the home folder. So let's say we want to make the subdirectory my project 3 again within the documents folder. What we can do is type in make directory and then tilde /documents /my project 3. So as you see, this creates the subfolder my project 3 within documents as expected. And full file paths can also be used with the touch, remove, move, and copy commands that we used earlier. So let's change our directory to home /documents, and now let's change it to my project 3. So now that we're in this subfolder my project 3, let's try creating a subfolder my project 4, but we want this within documents. So how do we do this from this current location? Well, we go up a level, so we use ... and then / my project 4, which is going to be the creation of the new subfolder, my project 4. So you see this works exactly as intended. So you should be comfortable using a /, which means it's going to be in the same directory, or which isn't that commonly used, or a //, which means we're going to go up a level. So likewise, we can remove this directory by going up the level and then removing my project 4. So we can use the command ls to list all the files or subdirectories within the current folder. So there's nothing within project 3, but if we change the directory to go up a level, we now see we've got the 4 files and then we've got the 3 subfolders. And if we change the directory to home and then type in ls, we see we've got all the subfolders: desktop, downloads, pictures, documents, music, and videos. So let's change the directory to downloads, and there's a couple of downloads here. So if we type in ls, we see that we've got this Firefox.tmp folder, and we've got the Google Chrome Debian file, and we've got the Ubuntu ISO. So let's change directory back to documents. And now let's actually have a look at editing the file. So to edit a file, we need to specify the text editor, i.e. the program that we're going to open up the file in, and then we need to specify the file name. So this can be a file name within the current folder, or we can specify a full file path. So I'm going to use the Nano text editor, which is the kind of inbuilt text editor, i.e. the text editor that's inbuilt to the terminal. So all the files that we've worked with have been blank. We've not put anything in them. So this file, I'm going to type print and then hello world. So this is going to be Python code. So now that I've edited the file, notice at the bottom we've got these shortcut keys. So I need to press Control and X in order to exit. And then when I do, I'm asked whether I want to save. So I need to press Y to save. And then I'm asked for the file name. So the file name is myfile.txt. So if I just press enter, it's going to overwrite the original file name, which is myfile.txt. And so we've updated the content of the file. So if we open up the file by double clicking it, it opens it up in the text editor, and we see that we've got the Python line print hello world. Okay, so let's now have a look at the echo command. So the echo command is the terminal based command to print a comment. So if I type in echo and then the string hello world, it's going to print the string hello world to the output of the terminal. So let's go ahead and edit myfile2.txt using the Nano text editor. And instead of using the print statement, we're going to use echo, and then we're going to echo the string hello world. So once again, we need to press Control and X to exit, Y to save, and then enter to save the file using the current file name. So let's change this file extension from .txt to .sh, and this makes the file a shell script. So we can rename the file by using the move command, and we stick within the same directory. So now we see that we've got myfile2.sh, and in order to run a shell script, we type in bash, which is an abbreviation for born again shell script, i.e. the new version of shell script, and then the name of the shell script that we want to run. So this prints hello world, which was included within the shell script. We can also type in Python 3 to run Python 3. So if we just type in Python 3 on its own, it's going to tell us that we are running Python 3 and the version is 3.10.3. So the prompt in the terminal has changed, and this means that we're actually running Python commands. And in order to exit, we need to use the exit function. And now we're back to the normal terminal. So you see the prompt has returned back to normal. So let's rename myfile.txt to myfile.py. So it's now a Python file. And we can type in Python 3 and run the Python script. And once again, this is very simple and it just prints hello world. So both the shell scripts and Python scripts are very popular within Linux, so both of these are natively supported. And we can zip a collection of files together into a zip file using the zip command. So we use zip and then specify the name of the zip file and then all the files that we want to add to it. So let's add myfile.py and myfile2.sh to the zip file. And we're just going to call it zippedfiles.zip. So let's just remove the original files. And now we can use the unzip command to unzip myfile.py and myfile2.sh from the zippedfiles.zip folder. So all we do is type unzipped and then specify the name of the zip file folder. And here we see myfile.py and myfile2.sh are recreated. Okay, so far we've been working essentially within our home folder and within subfolders within the home folder. We can, in the File Explorer, go to other locations and then go to computer. So in order to get to computer, we change directory to a single /, and that means we're in computer. So let's go to our home directory within this. So if we type in cd /home and then our username, then this is going to take us to the home directory that we know as tilde. And actually the home directory and your username are lowercase, so let me just fix that. And notice that the location is now tilde, which means we're in our home directory. Okay, so let's go back to root, which is other locations, and then computer within the File Explorer. And let's have a look at the boot and then grub subfolder. So we can change the directory to root and then boot and then subfolder grub. Let's edit this grub.cfg file by opening it up in the Nano text editor. And we're informed that the file is unwritable. And this is because we don't have permissions. So in order to get permissions, we need to run our command as a super user. So we prefix it with sudo, which is an abbreviation for super user do. And notice that when we do so, we're prompted to input our password. So once we input our password, we're granted access and we can edit this file. And this file's comments at the top say don't edit this file. So I'm just going to cancel and exit without saving any changes. Right, if I right click a file and select permissions, you can see who the owner is, the access of the file, the group that the owner is in, the access the group has, and then the access others have. So these permissions can be changed using the drop-down menu, but they can also be changed in the terminal by using the change modification command. So we use change modification and then we specify the modifications we want to make, and then we specify the file name. So notice that this has changed from others access read to others access, read and write. And the permissions that we have, I've put together in the written guide a more detailed breakdown. So let me just get to it. We've got the command change mod, and essentially you've got a 1-character abbreviation for the user, a 1-character abbreviation for the mode, and a 1-character abbreviation for the permission that you want to specify. So this is a kind of simplified version of the options available, i.e. the most commonly used options. If we want more details, we can open up the manual. So if we type in man and then follow this on by the command that we want to view the manual of, i.e. man change mod, then we can view the change mod manual, and we can scroll through this using the up and down arrows, and then we can press Q to quit. So Ubuntu has 2 package managers, Snap and apt. So if we type in Snap, we get informed that we've got the basics. So we've got the subcommands find, info, install, remove and list. So let's have a look at list, and this is going to list all the software that we've installed as Snap packages. Okay, so let's now use Snap Find, and we're going to search for VLC player using the search term VLC. So we see that the name of this is actually VLC. So this is the equivalent of opening up the Ubuntu software store and searching for VLC, and VLC is found. So in order to install VLC, you could click the install button in the software store, or you could type in Snap install VLC. And because you've not prefixed the command with sudo, this authentication prompt is going to display. So you're going to need to input your password here and select authenticate. If you typed in sudo snap install VLC, then you would instead be prompted to authenticate by inputting your password into the terminal. So it's going to download VLC player as a Snap package and go ahead and install it. And if we wanted to remove VLC player, we've got the Snap command remove. So Snap remove VLC. And once again, you're going to be prompted for authentication. I'm actually going to select cancel and now type in sudo snap remove VLC. So if it's your first command prefix with sudo, or the first command prefix with sudo used in a while, you'll be prompted to input your password. But if you've input it recently, it's just going to give you super user access to whatever you're typing in. So there's another package manager called apt, which is an abbreviation for the advanced package tool. And if we type in apt list, you see we've got a lot more items listed, and this is because most of these are operating system updates. So Ubuntu is a Debian based operating system, and Debian uses the advanced package tool. And so the software updates are listed using the advanced package tool. So if we use the update command, notice that we get permission denied. And this is because we're not running the update command as a super user. So if we type in super user do advanced package tool and then update, we can search for the updates. And we are informed that there's only one package that can be upgraded. So in order to view this, we can type in apt list and then use the flag upgradable. So let's go ahead and do this and view what our update is. So let's go ahead and update. So we need to type in sudo and then apt and then update. Sorry, I meant upgrade. So let's type in sudo apt upgrade. So update searches for the updates and upgrade installs the updates. So I'll need to input Y in order to proceed, and it's going to head and update it. So the apt command is moderately complicated, so we can open up its manual. And in the manual, we see some details about the options. So an option uses a single dash and then normally a single character. And it's used to quickly turn an option on or off. And in addition to options, there are also flags. So flags typically use 2 dashes and then the full name of a word. So --help is the flag that's equivalent to the option -h. So using the flag sometimes makes the code that you're typing a bit more readable. However, a lot of the options are common between a lot of commands. So in order to speed up your typing, you can use the options. And sometimes you're going to have to use options because flags for the specific setting aren't available. So let's search for software called Vocal Screen. And I've actually installed this. But if I hadn't and I wanted to install it, I would need to type in sudo apt install Vocal Screen ng. And to remove it, I would need to type in sudo apt remove Vocal Screen ng. And in this case, I'm going to reinstall it. So I'm going to type in sudo apt reinstall Vocal Screen ng. And it's gone ahead and reinstalled it for me. So I think this is a pretty good point to finish, and it covers the most commonly used commands of the Linux terminal. And if you think there's commands that should be added to this video, just comment down below just what the command is and what it does and how you use it. And for those that are more interested in learning programming, I would suggest getting started with Python and going ahead and installing the Anaconda Python distribution. So I've put together a fairly detailed guide on installing Anaconda on Ubuntu 22.04 long-term support, and I'll link to this in the video description.